I am Dr. Nalini Avinash Wagmare, working as a assistant professor at Tirak Maharashtra Vidyapith. This is my brief information. Today's our topic is related to local history. So let's see what is local history. We know that history is the study of past events. Under history is a very vast and scope and nature. While we study, it's related to so many things, and various type of history is also there. History relation with other subjects is also there. But today's our topic is basically focused on local history. The term local history is not as simple as it might first appear. Conventionally, local histories have been thought of as writings about a town, region, or state written by an amateur writer for a local audience. In 19th and 20th century, local writing popularized among the academicians and historians. We find that recently means 19th, 20th century, this history is writing because of in past king, his affairs, his expenses, administrative system, conquering the other places, even his whole things we have written. But local history is just 19th and 20th century. It started until today. It's taken a very new trend in writing history. We can also say that here. So local history, more recently, historian like Terry Bernhardt broadened the parameters of local history to include the work of historical geographers and anthropologists, well as case studies of national, regional, or communal history. He writes local history is a big tent that demographics promises of both amateurs and professionals, and local historians are as diverse as their audience. So, according to his view, the other scholars, historians, social scientists, they also give opinion about this local history. Carol Kamin's Undoing Local History, definition of local history, which is simple at first, the study of past events or people or groups in a given geographical area. But when she continues with how she thinks local history ought to be done, local history is studied based on wide variety of documentary evidence as placed in comparative context that should be both regional and national. Such thought to be accomplished by a historian using methods appropriate to the topic under consideration while following general rules of historical inquiry. Open-minded, honesty, accountability, and accuracy. These all things are required for those who are going to study the or those who are doing the research on local history. In the right side, I have mentioned a few pictures which shows that how local history reference for writing local history in an authentic manner. In more local historians writer, better local history, the entire reputation of the profession will improve as well. Local history may share with man academic fields, including ethnic study cases, studies of national history, public history, regional history, along with urban history, the many place specific histories, environmental history, oral history, and micro history. This all comes under local history also. In various point of view, we have to study local history. In the right side, I have mentioned one chart which shows that the local deities worshipping system, how these artisan for performing their art, and how this folk culture given information about the local deities, local religious things, social custom and traditions, as well as local people tendency also. So only one example purpose, even you can study local history in a interdisciplinary as well as multidisciplinary manner also. Then what is a local history? Local history is the history of the smaller communities in which all of us live. It may be history of a town, a rural or suburban area, or a city neighborhood. Local history deals with the people and events we know most. So here in the right side, I have mentioned the local deities photo. So here you can study local history. For example, of deities, god and goddesses of particular village, god and goddess of particular district, god and goddesses worship in a particular state, or religious custom and traditions of particular people. So either you take a small town or rural or local people or village people study. So here the local history is the history of smaller communities in which all of us live. Even your own local history you can also write, maybe related to trade, commerce, tradition, customs, songs, and other things. Why study local history? So on the religious festival of, in the right side, the photo is mentioned. Studying local history provides the student with increased interest in the largest subject of history. Because in the textbooks, we have to given you theories and practices of some original concepts, some theories, some methodology we teach you. But while studying local history, it create more interest to student too, because he will field visit there, get the first-hand information, get the correct history, even oral history, and understand the culture, traditions, even moral things also. That's purpose also the local history is very, very important. Then second thing, the student advances from memorizing names, dates, and places to the desire of knowing what was being said about people, places, or events. In textbook, we only study the related to whatever written in the chronological order, while we easily given information about local people, local deities, local monuments, other things. It is very easily student grasps that one and get the information, as well as easy for them to understand and memorize that point very clearly in their mind. That is also one benefit of this local history. Then the study of local history gives the student a better sense of realism, what is fact and what is fiction. When he go to the field work, when we introduce this local history to them, they are also take interest, as well as they also study many things, and that is also benefit to one and all. Then the study of local history then might encourage presentation. It will make us aware of our own links to the past. We are living in present, but most of the textbooks and other things mentioned in the past. Correlation between past and present, and understand past in a very easily manner, and how transformation took place and how the changes we find in this present era, and what is the importance of past to present and how it is implication to one's own life. That point also mentioned in the that knowledge also give local history to us. That's why it is very important for studying local history. And then another, reading and diaries and letters pertinent to local history shows that history is made and recorded by average people writing about events in their lives and how the events affected them. These all things also helpful to the writing the local history. And actually studying local history contributed to regional history contributed to state history contributed to national history writing, then national history directly go to the international history writing. So there is a link from below to up. That's why it is very, very necessary to understand the local history. Then why study local history also? Finally, as teachers, we should remember that we are training future citizens, not necessarily future professional historians. That's why the good citizens' purpose to knowing their own language, custom, tradition, to build the moral characteristic in their life, for overall development of the personality, to understand their own culture, traditions, as well as some ethics. For that purpose also this local history study is important. Then historians and politicians must fight hard to protect access to the gold mine of local histories. Uh, Here the few artisans pictures also shows local, national and global frameworks of historical analysis are not mutually exclusive but closely interrelated, highlighting the importance of local history for the discipline as a whole. Nowadays in the MA level, also in post graduation level or in university level, the teachers give you some project work or field visit work or some study tour related to or study camps also to organize their local places and to attract the students, even foreigners also. But student if thoroughly get that knowledge, that is utilized for the further purpose. So that's why it is also helpful to all. The value of local history to professional historians. Incorporating local history into an academic history department benefits many, including professors, students, their colleagues, and inner cities, as well as members of surrounding communities. Means while studying local history is not only what we say only professional or research scholar or project director or officer only it's benefit to them. No, this benefit to all. You can say including professors, students also, even college students, university students, even community also benefit, because if some scholar taken a topic related to local history, he done research, he make argue with some policies, some suggestion that also come to the society, then so through book and through material or through newspaper or through some suggestions orally also. So that time they can change and they make change, and they even take the example of food, medicines, or sports, or some songs also, local songs, local music also, even folklore also, which is very much helpful to not only it is benefit to both researcher as well as uh, artisans also, if they may promote that one through books also, through project also, through research paper also, then people know that and they came to places and they also identify the persons, their songs, recording and popularizing. So this is also helpful to the as some professional historians have long understood, local history narrative is extremely popular with ordinary people, far more popular than most of the monographs. Lewis, 1927, in his essay, Local History is attractive because it is about us. It's not other person's history, it's a people's own history. We feel that our own lives, the lives of our ancestors and neighbors, that events that have taken place in the particular locality where we have settled are very wide as important as the lives of people who are more remote for us. So it is important to study local history, which is helpful to all. As most universities that house regional studies, local history or public history programs recognize, such programs can provide a direct link between a history department and members of the surrounding community. So it is benefit to both. The historian collected the information, document and present that one, and the artisans perform that one and get the benefit, and its popularity easily became, then their livelihood also provided, so their work is also continuing. If we not documented, preserve this culture or this local history, it is we will find this one only in the museums. So incorporating coursework in reading and writing local history narrative brings value to the any history department. You can take archaeology, Indology, even anthropology, museology. All department get the importance of this local history. Local history is a flexible form. It can be integrated as a field of inquiry or even as a single course. It can be an academic field on its own, or it can be subsumed into a variety of subfields within an academic history department, including history, public history, regional studies, and writing, notification, narrative history. By incorporating a local history program, a history department can add value to the department in the university and surrounding community. So in the local history, the history department can also do a better work if it is in Adivasi area. Then whatever their armaments, their using materials, their utensils, their culture study, their way of living, their what we say, their religious custom and tradition, their food habits, that also preserve or ask those people and document those things and kept in their record, even promote their culture, their music, their tradition, their made goods, popularize that one, marketize that one. That is also benefit to both them and historians also. Then importance of local history. The local history is very important for the local people because the local history carries their culture and social information for the next generation. And following are the advantages of teaching local history at different levels of schools, maybe primary level, secondary level, even 10th standard, 12th, even university students also. Even if we establish some separate course for local history also, that is also important. Discussing the importance of local history, Professor E.H. Hulsluck has rightly said, the study of local history of real importance and should most certainly find some space, however small, in the school history syllabus. It helps to bring home to people by everyday contact with historical events, scenes, names, and buildings, the sense of the development which his country has undergone, and removes his thoughts from time to time away from the present to the contemplation of the ages that are past. Educationalists attach great importance to the teaching of local history. Even the local places, persons, or events give a sense of reality, vividness, many topics of history, even social reformers of local people, the people who participated in national movement, the women, great women of the particular area, great persons of that particular of people. Even we say some events took place, not only in national movement or ancient or some monuments, some temples, some caves, some inscriptions. These all give us a topic to people, students, and they get the information. Hence, local history can be made the foundation on which the structure of that history can be traced. Respect for local customs and traditions. The study of local history reveals to the child how some of the present day local custom tradition have their roots in the past and how they have developed through the ages. For understanding one's own culture, one's own local things, that's purpose also this local history is very, very important. It tells them that the customs and tradition reflect the habits and moral life of the locality people and how this changes to till today. It creates respect for those local traditions and customs which have contributed richly to the development of moral and social life of the locality people. So when it's the primary level, school level, if we teach this one to student, then in his surrounding areas or whenever he go to the some particular places, some areas he understand more and he find and he proudly say that he belongs to this particular place or this particular culture. He know that one, and it is how proud themselves and proud about our Indian culture and tradition. And on the other hand, the evil tradition, which cannot fit in the modern civilized world today, create hatred in the child's mind against them to modify and improve them. Hence, whichever the some blind beliefs, some traditions, when people, student understand clearly, then he try to remove those things and adopt the modern things, rational things, and live a very good life. For that purpose, also, this local histories teach us a lot. Along with its respect for our ancestors, that is also one more point we find in the while studying the local history. The study of local history reveals to the child that his present day life is not a sudden growth. How transformation took place. For example, you take the example of Paleolithic period, then Neolithic period, then come to the what we say um, Vedic period, the later Vedic period, then how changes took place up to the Mauryan period, Gupta period, medieval period, then Britishers, then independent, then postmodern, then up to the 21st century. So this long history, but how it changes, and he thinks that it's not a sudden thing. He very respect to our ancestors because of culture, tradition, their sacrifice, their leadership, their contribution, their preserving things for the new generation. That is also most important things. That's why it is very necessary for us. It is the result of thousands of years of experimentation and sacrifices on the part of his ancestors. Such a knowledge will create respect for our ancestors by this our new generation. For that purpose, this local history is also important. The child will be specifically proud if the contribution some of the local ancestors has to lead to the development of culture and religious life. Take the any example of few rulers, social religious reformers, saints, poets, artisans, women reformer, women leader, anything. You take the festivals, fairs, why this one is continued one. So they are proud about that. The living interest for history. A study of local history enables a child to realize that what he is reading in history textbooks today has actually influenced lives of his forefathers, who in fact have been the real makers of history. That he proudly think about it. It's not a sudden one, it's not a copy paste one, it's a thorough history chronologically come from that time to till today. Such knowledge will create a living interest for history in the child's mind, and he will like to go back to history to learn a lot of his about present day life. Thus, anything which is real and connected with the life of the students in their immediate environment is of great interest to them. Then development skills and right attitudes purpose also local history is important. A study of local history will go a long way to developing skills and right attitudes. The pupils will be encouraged to prepare charts and local guidebooks also. It will create sympathy for the hard lot which might have overtaken the local inhabitants as a whole or the poor people of the locality. Thus, local history helps greatly in developing the ideas of loyalty, integrity, fellow feeling, and responsibility. Today, what happened? We are in this globalized world. Most of the things we are imported from the other countries, and we are neglecting our own culture, traditions, as well as manufactured goods. If you go to any state, any places, we can do to preserve that culture, that art. It is better to you can purchase some things, maybe not high, at least some local produce foods, local produce articles, local produce utensil materials. It is encouraged them. It is also livelihood of those people, and it became one attachment between you and them, and because of this also employment provided to them. So that's why it is also important, and the people learn to, oh, this person's doing good work. Yes, they are preserving our tradition, our art, our culture, and continuing to new generation. So one thing, oneness comes there, and always being good attitude towards other with respectfully. That points also comes while we are studying the local history. Then along with development of critical thinking and sound judgment, the study of local history develops the people's power of observation and imagination. The amount of heaps of ruins in the localities observed by the people will develop his critical thinking. It will also enable him to form his own impressions and critical judgment on the basis of his observation. He will be able to visualize the life of the people at various points of time as interpreted through songs, folk songs, ballads, and religious and social institutions. It will also give him an awareness of cause and effect and understanding of the public opinion, prejudice, personal likes and dislikes. To conclude, in the words of Professor K.O. Ghosh, he says that it is valuable training for a boy that he should, by time he leaves school, take a genuine interest in the doings of his ancestors or the former inhabitants of place where he lives and in the institution and buildings they have left. Giving awareness about the local people, culture and tradition. We have to give information to students to do that one. They take interest and they have prepared that one. So local paintings and those other things find in these two pictures. Then which methods we adopt the study the local history. Study tours. Children in excursions or study tours. School children or weekend picnic also. School children in a locality may be encouraged to visit places of historical interest and significance under the guidance of their teachers. Certain localities may be having places of national importance, such as the University of Nalanda, the battlefield of Plassey. Again, the excavation sites in Chandigarh, Ropner, and other places. In other localities, there may be places of local interest, such as local fairs and festivals, ballads, folk songs, world forts, which you go to any village in India or any state in India, you can get easily some caves, monument, temples, even we say some fairs also organized there. So we take to students, we take to our own children there to get the information about that. That is also increase the interest among the students. Interested in the history, the teacher should first make a survey of the locality himself and then chalk a program of taking his people to places of historical interest in the neighborhood of the school. Students in their notebooks must maintain a regular record of all such visits which give importance to local history. Also encourage to students to study that history in a detailed manner. Then incidental method of teaching local history. Local history is generally a collection of unrelated bites of knowledge. Therefore, people lacking the necessary background of knowledge find the course dull and uninteresting. Actually, it's a very interesting one. So many writers believe that there should be no separate course in local history. It should be taken up incidentally. While teaching national history, proper stress should be laid on the lives and services of great personalities of the provinces and the locality of the peoples have affected the people in general at various points of view. Historical remains and monuments of all types available in the locality, neighborhood, or provinces must also be emphasis on the proper occasions. Whenever the any functions, any gathering, any program in our colleges and somewhere, so we have to introduce their folk dance, local dance or local culture, local song, local exhibition, local materials, food also. That is naturally indirectly encouragement of those things. So historians remains and the historical remains and monuments all times available in the locality, neighborhood, province must also be emphasized. Such an intelligent correlation of local history with national history will make the subject more interesting for children. It will also arouse then interest for the antiquities. Then understanding of local history in the right side mentioned few artisans pictures using drama and other things. History and geography students may combine in undertaking surveys of the locality to construct a story of the development and progress of their own community. During such surveys, the student will inquire how and why and when a human settlement first made in their district, block, and locality, and how it will grave change from time to time. They will inquire how temples, factories, marketplaces, government buildings, railway station in the locality came into existence. To take survey and to understand that one, then start the writing. Such a survey will help the students in understanding the social and economic problems of their community and induce them to find out their solution. Even the tracing the significant streets and village names, people may be encouraged to find out significant names of towns, villages, streets, roads, etc. in their locality and try to trace out their history. They will learn how during the course of history various important names came to be associated with the road, streets and vicinities in their locality. Why this name came here, why it is this area is called so many things, so many names, why this road is like this, even why this market name is mentioned like this. Story of modern cities like Calcutta, Mumbai and Madras as well as that of old towns also find there. Even the one example through tattoo I have mentioned that studying local record, local historical material in the official record of a town or village can provide a rich source of information about the past of the locality. The tattoo shows in their hands. It shows that tattoos, whatever pictures you are finding in this picture, Actually, it's a rock art, prehistoric art. It's oldly we find in the rock. Later on, we find this art in the Adivasi community. Now we find this art in the hands of the actress, actor, even sports persons, film stars, as well as boxer, uh, any Indians or foreigner. Now modern, they have used this tattoo art as a modern one, but historically we have to study this tattoo art. Only the design and form is changed, but till today most of the all over the world people they are like this art. So we have to study what is tattoo arts, why it is important, when it started, how much varieties are there, types of tattoo arts. These all give us a lot of information to us. And locally we study that one. Meeting elderly persons of the locality, which give us a lot of information about to study the local history because they are the eyewitness of that particular village and they know more than us. That is the one thing we have to do whenever we go to the any village community. They tell us how different trades and profession in that locality have undergone changes and how the local people used to earn their livelihood in the past. Thus, the study of local history valuable both to the teacher and students. Again, an effective teacher of history can make his people learn history better than material by hand. So that's why this local history is important. Last point, he can enable them to understand the world around them in terms of cause and effect, but local history is very, very important for the skill development, knowledge development, getting understand their own culture and traditions, respect to tradition, cultures, and pass the knowledge to new generation. For this all purpose, the local history is important. You take any state, any regional, any national, any your own living place where you are living, maybe north to south, east to west, any state. There is no, only language is no bar. So remove those things. If you are belong to a particular area, write that one in one language, translate it and produce to the world. That is also you can do, and you can do more research work on this, which is benefit to the local people and benefit to professors and benefit to new generation also. So this is all about the local history. So these are the reference book you can refer for writing or understanding local history.